bear. It's a word that's kind of similar in the different Germanic languages. For example, we have German der Bär, but you may notice that there's a little bit of a difference in Scandinavian languages, where we have, for example, Old Norse bjørn and the modern descendants thereof. Now, what is up with that? Well, the root is still ber in all the Germanic languages, but what's happened is this has gone from being a so-called weak masculine noun, an in-stem masculine noun, like it still is in German, der Bär, den Bären, to being transferred to the use stems. So in Proto-Germanic, the accusative plural of bear, whether it was an end stem or a use stem, would be the same. It would come out as bjørnunes. And what's happened is that speakers have transferred it from the end stems to the use stems on the basis of that identical accusative plural. That may sound like a thin basis on which to make that transfer, but in fact, it's actually not that unusual for nouns to be transferred out of the end stems, but keep the n at the end as a new part of the root in especially Scandinavian languages and English. In other words, this happens to, although it's moved to the a stems instead of the u stems, is raven, compare German der Rabe, den Raben. So the n that's not there in the nominative in German gets moved into Old Norse hraven, Old English hraven, right, our raven words in Scandinavian and English. Anyway, once it's become a u stem, the new nominative singular is bjørnunes, and that u is going to mutate, is going to so-called break the e in the preceding syllable. This is the exact same thing that happens to the word earth. It goes from erthu to jörð in Old Norse because of that following u and the breaking that it causes on the preceding e. So you get björn out of what was originally a word very much like English bear or German bow. Now, where does bear come from in the first place? Some debate about this over the years. The classic explanation is that it's from an Indo-European root for brown that you also see in beaver, babrus, the Sanskrit word for mongoose. Donald Rinn suggests, and I think that he's onto something, that's a fairly thin basis on which to reconstruct a word for brown, but that this instead may be related to the word for wild animal that we see in Latin ferus, Greek ptero, which you see in like theropod, beast foot. So it's originally the beast word. The word for bear in Proto-European is actually what's ancestral to Greek arctos, Latin ursus, Irish art, and that particular word is lost in Germanic languages.